What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hamstack and today is my final review here of the OPPO Reno 14, a phone that I've been using for a couple of weeks already, and of course want to share with you my experience after using this phone for that period of time. And I always like to break it down into four main segments over here just to give you guys a more comprehensive overview of how this phone has been for me personally over that period of time. So yes, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Okay, so first things first, let's start off with the price. And here in Malaysia, it does go for about 2,999 ringgit, which does place it at about the $700 mark. So it's definitely firmly into the mid-range market over here, and we're going to look at it from a mid-range point of view. So the first segment that I do want to talk about is, of course, the holding experience. Basically, how this phone here feels in my hand over the past 2 weeks, and what I can say is that it feels really good. That's what she said. And of course, first thing first you'll notice is of course the weight that does come with this phone. It's not too heavy compared to many other flagship phones, but it doesn't feel too light either to give you that kind of cheap feeling. It does have a very good weight to it. Of course, this is helped because on the back here, we do have a nice velvet glass from OPPO over here to give you that kind of premium feel for this phone. Yes, it does have that matte design, that kind of nice texture to it. So even if you're not going to use it with a phone case, it feels really nice, very premium indeed, and I really do like the designs. What I noticed is that with most of the mid-range phones, they do give you more of a unique design, and that's what you have it over here. They do have that nice glowing mermaid effect, which I really do like. If you're using a phone case which would cover the back here, that would kind of take away the experience. But if you're going to use the free phone hard case here, the transparent one that they have given you right off the box, you can actually admire that glowing effect, which I really do like. But definitely this is not something that will push people to buy this phone, but something that will is of course the durability of this. So on the sides, we do have the aerospace grade aluminum frames, and I really do like it. Yes, it definitely does feel a little bit more different compared to many other aluminum frame phones that I do have in my collection, and definitely does feel a little bit more kind of premium, and also definitely feels a bit more rugged and a bit more steady. And of course on the front, we do have the Gorilla Glass 7i. So overall, all around this phone, it is really nicely protected. I have used this in my hands for some time. I've put it in my pocket, I throw it in my bag. So far, no scratches, no dents or whatsoever. So it definitely is still really good phone. I haven't really tested it by throwing it down, but I can say that this phone here, they have given you really good protection all around. Other than that, what I can say is that I really do like the design. As we can tell from here, we do have these squared sides, very similar to a certain fruit company, which I will not mention, and it does feel really nice and smooth here as well. I do like the curve on the four sides, so definitely going to rest it on your palm. You're not going to get that soreness over long periods of time. Other than that, reaching the buttons, the volume rockers, and also the power button is really nice. The optical scanner for the fingerprint is a little bit too low for my liking. I did wish that it was a little bit higher, but other than that, it's actually very nice and easy to reach overall. And just this phone, to be honest, if you just show it to most people, they would think that this is a flagship level phone. So in terms of this, I would say the holding experience of this is really solid. If you want to put this on your flat table as well, the cameras don't budge out too much, so you won't have that wobble. Or if you want to put it on like a phone stand or whatever, you can just put it flat, don't have to worry about it. So for this, the holding experience on this, I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10. Moving forward, let's go on to the second segment, and that is of course the viewing experience. So basically, I'm going to cover the display, the speakers, and also the haptics on the Reno 14. And what I can say about the haptics is that I've been playing some games on this here, which does perform really nice, which we'll talk about in the next segment. And I do like the haptics here. It does have that nice subtle approach, very nice hint to it, and it doesn't feel too heavy, which I really do like. And of course, if you couple that with the nice display over here, it isn't the biggest, I would say, in this price range. Sometimes you can get even 6.67 inch. But here, 6.59 is really nice and large. So you can actually enjoy your content you're watching, like your social media, going through your emails, just basically anything that you want to do on the phone. You'll definitely get a very good body and screen to body ratio here, which I really do like. You do have some thick bezels on the sides, which may be a little bit of a bummer for some people, but I really do like it because sometimes if you're playing some games, you don't want to get some of your accidental touches that does come with the sides over here. Overall, I would say the display does look really good. The colors come out really nice and popish. Of course, you can change the settings here in your display settings in your settings menu here. But of course, I do put it more into so-called the natural and sometimes into a little bit of some vivid here and there a little bit just to see the colors pop out, and it really feels really nice. And of course, what I do like about when it comes to OPPO phones is of course the splash touch technology. So definitely if you have some water droplets, like here in Malaysia, sometimes you rain or sometimes you're like hitting the gym and you're like, you know, just cleaning some stuff and you get some water droplets. You don't have to worry about it because you can still use your phone without much of an issue. And of course, if you have an amazing display, you need good speakers here as well. And that's what you get with the Reno 14. I wouldn't say they are the best. What I noticed is that from about 0 to 30%, the volume is very, very low. So you can't really hear most of the stuff. So you have to push it up to maybe about 40 to 70%. And that's where you'll notice the big jump when it comes to the volume there. So then you suddenly hear like, wow, that's like the phone is playing something. But after that, it doesn't get really too loud. Yes, it does get pretty clear and music does sound pretty nice. But I did wish they have given us a little bit more boost in terms of the volume over here. But overall, when you're just at home watching your shows and just enjoying your content, the volume on this, the display and the speakers does work really well together. So overall, when it comes to this, the viewing experience, I'll give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. And of course, one of the main segments when it comes to reviewing a phone, and that is of course the user experience. So basically we cover the hardware and also the software side of things. So hardware wise, we have the MediaTek Dimensity 8350 over here, and what I can say is that it performs really, really nice. When it comes to gaming, you don't have to worry about it. Some people like to ask me whether this phone can play PUBG or maybe Delta Force or whatever. Yes, no problems whatsoever. I'm not a really heavy gamer, so I can't really judge on that. But for the games that I play, it does perform really, really nice. When you're going through multitasking as well, going through your emails, going back to your social media, going through your Chrome, it works really, really nice. I didn't really notice much of your stutters, your lags, or maybe some of your bugs here and there, and it works really, really nice. So I really do like it. And of course, one more thing to note when it comes to performance is of course the battery. So 6,000 milliamps of battery over here definitely does show when it comes to this phone. So definitely when it comes to just how long this phone can last, it really lasts more than a day. Gives you me about 8 hours of screen on time, which is really, really great. And what's more great about this is of course the charging speed over here. So right out of the box here in Malaysia, they do give you the 80-watt SuperVOOC charger. Really, really fast. It's one of the fastest charging bricks you can find out there compared to many other phones proprietary chargers, so it definitely really helps a lot. I did wish at this price point they could have introduced a little bit more of your wireless charging, but you don't really get that, but it's compensated by the very, very fast SuperVOOC charger. Of course, now we're going to talk about the software side of things, and that is where it gets a little bit more interesting because we're not just talking about Color OS 15 because we know about it, all the features that does come with it, like the side panel, the triple for the swipe down to take your screenshots, and all these other things. It works really nice, very smooth, a lot of customizations that does come with it. But you would notice right off the box that this phone here does come out a lot with your pre-installed apps here, which does get pretty annoying because you have to take some time to actually delete them one by one. But when it comes to ads, you don't really get a lot of your ads moving around. To be honest, I didn't really notice a lot of your ads actually running on the back over here. So other than just uninstalling all the apps, which you would do it on probably your first day, it would just turn out really nice, fresh, and also clean when it comes to ColorOS. Of course, nowadays in 2025, we have to talk about the AI features here. And when it comes to OPPO phones, they have already perfected this AI here with their phones. I feel it's very mature, and they have also added a few more things here with their AI stuff. So if you go to your photo editing here, you don't only have your AI eraser, which works really nice, very natural, especially when it comes to removing objects or removing people. You have your AI enhancement as well, AI best snapshot here as well, which works really, really nice. So you can actually choose your best photo that does come out. So you can just choose the person, maybe the person just closed the eye or the teeth was a little bit showing a little bit off here and there. You can actually just kind of change it over there and does give you like so-called the best shot, and it does look pretty natural, I would say. I think hopefully with future updates they will give you a little bit more perfection on this, but to be honest, the AI stuff on this is really fun, really cool, and I really like it that nowadays phones are just not phones. You can actually do so much more with it, with all the AI stuff here. And also when it comes to photography, we're going to talk about it later in the next segment, but it also does give you, and it does extend the AI there to your cameras as well. And then that, you also have your AI summary, which I don't really use it too much, but I know some people would use it when it comes to like just summarizing that maybe their work or some data or some information. That is of course really, really helpful, and it works here with this phone. And one thing you will notice that, one thing that's really important when it comes to OPPO phones is of course the software support. So with Reno 14 phones, you will get at least 5 years of OS updates. That is really amazing. Imagine just spending about $700 and you can use this phone for about 5 years, which is of course very long lasting, and you don't have to worry about this phone being outdated by OPPO over here. So overall, when it comes to the user experience on this, at the price point of about $700, I will give it a solid 9 out of 10. Alright, so last but not least, let's talk about the cameras that does come with the Reno 14. So first thing first, you'll notice that we do have your 50 megapixel main lens and also the selfie department over here. OPPO has really been really good when it comes to their portrait shots. They not only give you sharp images and a lot of details, especially with the bokeh effect, but they have always tried to make it look better here as well. Also, they do have the AI live photo to give you a little bit more depth when it comes to taking photos with your light condition, because sometimes when you're just in a very dark room, maybe you're like just partying or having a good time, or you're just outdoor with not much of light and you want to use the flash, sometimes it doesn't really work too well. But over here, they've kind of minimize it, and also does do a little bit more with the post-editing software here to give you a nicer natural looking shot, and this is something I really do like. When you're going outdoor, you don't have to worry about it with a lot of sunlight, you have a lot more details. That mid-range is really, really nice. Some images in certain indoor conditions would look a little bit softer than normal, which is pretty, I would say, standard when it comes to mid-range phones. Even certain flagship phones do struggle in this area, but overall I would say that the shots here do look really nice. Portrait, again, like I mentioned, using the rear cameras looks really, really nice, and I really liked how to, again, just play around with the lighting condition. This really, really fun to play with. Other than that, I think the cameras here has been really improved a lot. You can record up to 4K at 60 FPS, even with the rear cameras here, which is really, really nice. Of course, they do have OIS here as well to help you, to give you more stable images and also capture better shots, even taken with the telephoto lens over here. So telephoto lens, you can go up to about 3.5, which is really amazing, because sometimes mid-range phones, they don't give you your telephoto lens, but over here they do give you a nice telephoto lens to capture some shots, maybe in the cinema, maybe in a concert or whatever. You need that telephoto, you have it here with the Reno 14. So overall, when it comes to the camera photography over here, the camera experience, I will give it a solid 8 out of 10. Okay, so that is it with my final review here of the OPPO Reno 14. And of course, the ultimate question is, should you go out and buy it? For about $700, I think this is where it gets a bit tricky. If it was placed at about maybe the 600, I would say definitely it's a really good choice. But 700, you might want to wait for maybe something like the Reno 14 Pro, which would give you maybe better specs. But what I can say here, the experience on this has been really, really good. I would wait for maybe a certain sale here, maybe $100 off to make it better. But overall, when it comes to this phone, I think this packs a lot of cool features here. You have your AI stuff, 5 years of software updates, great display, great speakers, and also a very good set of decent cameras here as well. Of course, these are just my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about the Reno 14. If you guys enjoyed this video, do click the like and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.